It is Financial Friday on Good Things Utah, sponsored by Jordan Credit Union. And today we are talking about everything you need to know on estate planning. Joining me now for more is Landon Bradfield with Jordan Credit Union and Chris Finley, the volunteer chairman of the board of Jordan Credit Union. Welcome. Hello to both of you.
Thank you.
Good to meet you and good to see you, Landon.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. So fun to have you and to have these conversations. We learned so much from you. Who did you bring with you today?
Yeah, you announced him. He's Chris Finley. He's the chairman of our board. And estate planning is something that's very technical, and you should have somebody who really knows what they're talking about. And Chris is an attorney who specializes in estate planning. And so we brought him as the subject matter expert.
I'm so glad you did, because I told you just moments ago that I saw my family go through a struggle with this over the course of this last year. So some information that is crucial to know. So we hear that term, estate planning. What does it mean?
Well, estate planning really is about being proactive. You know, you have an estate, which is all of your assets when you pass away that you own individually. And you really want to not put off planning, you know, what happens with those things when you pass away. So estate planning can really make a huge difference for your family after you're gone.
And saving some confusion down the road, saving us time on that. It also involves those legal documents such as wills, such as trusts. We hear those and we go, well, what's the difference?
Sure. Yeah, wills allow you to express your feelings on who you want to be in charge and who you want to receive the benefit of your estate. But where there's a will, there's a probate. That means that the court needs to make a decision on who's in charge, and ultimately there are some timing issues that come up with probate court. And so a trust really is a better way to go when you can make all of those decisions ahead of time. You enter essentially a contract with your trustee or the person in charge, and they can make sure that things happen the way that you want to without having to go through court. It's a lot simpler and brings more peace of mind.
It's amazing how much there is to learn about all of this. And if you don't know, and then you are struck with it's time to figure out what's happening, how to divide assets, this is why we need an expert who deals with this day in and day out. But the whole goal is to get ahead of it, right, before we get there. So who should be thinking about planning?
You know, estate planning is important really at all of your important life stages. Graduation from high school or college, marriage, when your children are born, especially if they have special needs, when you buy a home, when you retire, you know, those are all times to think about estate planning, where you can really control what happens, so your family's not just left to try to work things out on their own.
Yeah, I think that's a really big takeaway with this today. And Landon, we were chatting earlier, and you said anytime you have a life change, whether that is children, whether that is a large asset, that's the time to get on top of this.
Yeah, and also you need to make sure that your beneficiaries on your accounts in the financial institution, like with Jordan Credit Union, in those life stages, you need to make sure that the beneficiaries listed are the ones that are the ones you were intended, especially in a divorce or having kids. Sometimes people forget to change those beneficiaries, and it makes it really complicated.
Well, even something like a divorce, that's time to kind of adjust legally how we're set up, who's on what. What do you see most often? What's a common mistake?
Really just people putting things off, you know, procrastination in estate planning. Because if you don't think about things like making sure your accounts are in your trust, you know, you have family members that are put in a position where they have to go through probate that's more technical when they're grieving and shouldn't be dealing with those things.
It's so hard to think through and think clearly when you are in that grieving process.
That's true.
And what happens if you see that something isn't set up the way that you would like, or you have to make an adjustment, but that person has passed? Is that hard to do? Is it possible?
It's possible, but it is a little bit more difficult and time intensive, but it's important to talk to an attorney that knows how to handle that, you know, someone that practices in that area. so that they can make it as simple as possible.
Get on top of it now. It sounds like this pertains to just about everybody. And Chris,
does.
you know your stuff. Landon, any other takeaways?
I don't think so. Just make sure, double check your beneficiaries on your accounts. We do run across that periodically, and it's always devastating when they're inaccurate. So,
Biggest takeaway of the day. Make sure, double check, triple check.
yes.
Oh, thank you both so much.
Thank you.